All right, welcome to another astrological forecast video. Today we're going to be talking about the vernal equinox until the summer solstice, March 20th to June 20th, in this 3-month period of time, what's happening astrologically. And it is March 19th, tomorrow is March 20th. That's the real first day of the year, the astrological year, when the sun enters 0 degrees Aries and begins its path through all of the 12 signs. I was born on January 1st, and so people say, oh wow, New Year's baby. Well, after studying astrology now, I don't have the same, there's not the same flavor to being a New Year's baby because I wasn't born on the astrological New Year, which is March 20th. This is the best time of the year to start a new project, to put your plans in motion, to get it off the ground. If you look up a lot of companies, their founding documents are set on this period of time, around these dates, because this is when you thrust things into the world. This is when you set your plans in motion for the next year or for the future in general. And so whatever you're working on, this is a great time to start something new. And whatever you've been thinking about the last few months, this is the time to put it in action. It's one of the reasons why people's New Year's resolutions made in January don't work out, is because they're not doing it at this powerful, energetic time to really get a new plan going in motion. So always a really fun day to see, a fun period of time, about a week within the 20th of March, to see what's happening new in your life, putting things out, and getting things off the ground, getting things started. So this is the best time of year for that. Some key dates that we're going to be talking about now in a nutshell. April 20th, April 21st, the solar eclipse, the new moon in Aries. That same day, Mercury is going retrograde. So whatever you do, don't do anything, don't make any major plans. April 19th, 20th, 21st, keep things close by, be introspective. You're not going to want to be going out and making big decisions on those days. As just a general recommendation. May 5th is the lunar eclipse, the full moon. So that eclipse season, we're going to be talking about what we're going to be seeing in general, the effects of those eclipses. May 16th, Jupiter enters Taurus. So a new 1-year cycle for Jupiter entering into Taurus. And then May 30th to June 3rd, Jupiter is conjunct Rahu, the north node. So those are the dates at a glance. We're going to talk about them. And so I just put a new prediction session on my website. And this prediction session, I call it the full spectrum prediction session. And we're using multiple techniques in order to look at what's happening in your future coming up. And we're working on planning out how the current transits are working in your chart. I also use the solar return method called Varshafala. It's a Persian system of looking at how each year you're getting set up for new experiences. So we tie in that. And then we're also looking through your planetary periods. Vedic astrology, each planet has periods of time that it rules over. So using multiple techniques in order to see how things are working out in your life, seeing how the equinoxes, see how different returns are working for you, seeing how the eclipses are working for you, and giving you a flavor of what's coming up in your particular life. But in this video, we're going to be talking about general effects happening worldwide. And we want to mark these dates in our calendars, see what happens. The most important point is seeing how this is affecting your specific natal chart. That'll give you the most information. But one of the big highlights is a lot of Jupiter action going on in this 3-month period of time. So what is Jupiter? Jupiter is our children. Jupiter is our inner inspiration to create. It's our creativity in general. It's luck, wisdom, good grace, the feeling of goodness that you have inside of you. Jupiter, first of all, is going to be within 7 degrees of the eclipses. That first eclipse, April 20th. Jupiter is right inside, right in the pocket of these eclipses. So what does an eclipse do in general? It creates instability on an internal level, and they can be wild cards. What happens to you on an eclipse period of time? It changes every single eclipse, and like I said, they're wild cards. Some people don't feel anything. Sometimes people go through major experiences in these periods of time. So Jupiter is directly involved with what's going on in these eclipses. I didn't say, but Jupiter's wealth and finances. We've already seen the seeds of economic problems happening, from the bank failure a couple weeks ago, Silicon Valley Bank. Now we're getting word of other banks failing, many other banks failing. And this is all a brand new, this is the time of the year where new things are happening. So a new thing, instability in financial markets. Keep your money, keep your wealth under close guard. Make wise financial decisions, because I think we're going to be seeing some rocky times financially because of the instability that Jupiter is going to be going through starting with this eclipse. If there's the book that Ernst Wilhelm recommended, The Eagle and the Lark, and that book, it talks about Saros cycles of eclipses, and eclipses have foundational eclipses that affect eclipses in a series of, it creates series of eclipses. So when we look at the foundational eclipse, that foundational eclipse is going to have effects in the eclipses in that series. It's a complex subject, but really interesting. And the foundational eclipse of this current one, which happened I think in 1100 AD or so, that eclipse had a lot to do with deep-seated passions. Mars and Venus were both on the either side of the eclipse point in Libra. So there was a lot of passion and a lot of relationship, people being surprised by what they're holding inside of them in terms of their relationship, a sexual passion, this desire to procreate. And procreate is a good theme to keep in mind because Jupiter's involved. Jupiter is this creation. So in this eclipse, April 20th, I think there can be this desire to unite with someone, with a close person, and being passionate about someone that you're close with. Sexual passions or just sensual passions, and being having this desire to unite with somebody. That could be an interesting theme that's happening. How are your relationships doing? Is your relationship, does it need a boost of passion within it? So that's something to keep in mind for that eclipse. But like I said, the key will be keep your wealth safe. Don't make rash financial decisions at that time. Don't wait for something major to happen during that time, because eclipses are happening on us internally. And so that can be a very emotionally unstable time. We don't want to mix our emotions in with managing wealth, making emotional decisions when it comes to speculation, like the stock market. You don't invest emotionally, and people get really wound up when their money's involved. So keep all of that in mind for this eclipse season. And like I said, Mercury is going retrograde right at that eclipse. So when Mercury is going retrograde, what it's doing is it's stopping and going backwards, and it's going to be focusing you on whatever house cusp it's going over. So if it's over your 11th cusp, you're going to be refocusing on your goals and aspirations, looking at how you are dealing with groups. How are your friends and how are your friend groups? Being objective about those things. And that's what Mercury is doing. Mercury is this objective analysis and observation. So when Mercury is going retrograde, look at whatever house cusp it's going over to see what you need to be focusing on and having an objective reassessment over. Don't mix your emotions in this process. People who are fearful of Mercury retrograde, when things go bad, their emotions are getting in the way of their ability to look at something with an objective lens. So find out what house cusp Mercury is going to be going retrograde in Taurus. What is Taurus in your chart? What planets are around there? And what is the house cusp, and see those areas in your life that you're going to be reassessing. It's a really healthy time, actually, Mercury retrograde. Time to get things in better order so things are working functionally in your life better, improving your life in whatever area that house cusp is. So then we have the May 5th, the lunar eclipse. Again, Jupiter is involved, so we could be seeing the fruition of what was begun on that solar eclipse 2 weeks earlier. Lunar eclipses are full moons, so it's the completion of that full energy of that eclipse, the completion of that whatever was initiated at that solar eclipse. So the full fruition of the effects will be happening at that lunar eclipse on May 5th. So another day to mark in your calendar to see what were the full results of this eclipse happening to me in my personal life. And so Jupiter, May 16th, is entering Taurus. Jupiter spends 1 year in each sign, so this transit into Taurus, we're going to be, Jupiter's leaving Aries, where risk-taking, creative projects getting off the ground, seeing my ambitions, what mountains I want to climb, using my creativity. Now it's a time to stabilize creative projects. It's Taurus is a very aesthetic sign, so this is a great time to be appreciating art, to beautify your home life, and also to put your creative aspirations, involve them with family and friends, and tie in your responsibilities with this inner inspiration to create. Taurus is a very stabilized, it's a very responsible and careful sign, and it has a lot to do with the resources that we have in our daily life, the tangible things we have. Look around and see what is your tangible wealth. What things do you have in your life that you can touch, that makes your life worth living, that makes you feel good inside? These things that aren't on the internet, or your money in bank accounts. Those things are all, you can't touch those things. What do you have in your life? What do you have around your house, in your home life, that makes your life better? And really appreciate those things, and that things that you could trade for other things if you had to. So wealth management. I think June 17th to July 4th, Saturn and Jupiter are going to be entering into an aspect with one another. I think this is a good time for wealth management, realistic wealth planning. It's going to be a time where you need to see, where do I need to pull back on the way I'm extending myself, to be more grounded in the way that you're spending, be more grounded in the way that you're, what you're inspired to do. Don't push things too far or too wide. Don't amplify what you don't have, and be very careful with what you're planning with your finances. So that is going to be late June, a time for reassessing finances. And Jupiter conjunct Rahu. Rahu is the north node, very explosive energy, very materialistic, desire-based, putting things out into the world, a very extroverted energy. It shares a similarity with Jupiter, because Jupiter is about expanding and putting things out, and amplifying things around us, making things more spacious. So this is May 30th until June 3rd, a big I don't want to say blow up day, but things can be really powerful. Things, not necessarily good things, but things really getting pushed out into the world. This inner urge to having a burst of creativity. And so this can be a very fun day, I think. This can be a very optimistic day, because Jupiter is a very optimistic energy, but Rahu creates illusions and confusions. So this is a time to, what am I being really optimistic about? Am I being over optimistic? Am I seeing more than what is there in reality? So be very cognizant of that possibility, that what you're really proud and what you're really excited to do, there could be levels of illusions involved with what you're really putting out there, what you're creatively putting out there. And so, again, this could be a materialistic day. This could be a day where maybe you eat a lot this day. You can maybe have this desire to indulge yourself a little bit too much. But I think it can be a very positive day in general. And two recent dates that Jupiter was conjunct Rahu, the last two times this happened, January 28th, 2016. January 28th, the World Health Organization announced the outbreak of the Zika virus. So Rahu is viruses, and now expanding a very intense thing, amplifying a virus. So that was the exact conjunction date of Jupiter and Rahu the last time this happened. So not a very good day. This was a announcement of a new virus. There's this kind of amplification, but not necessarily amplification of good things. And the second most recent time, January 26th, 2009, was a solar eclipse, Jupiter within 3 degrees. So very similar to the eclipse we're having now. Jupiter was right conjunct Rahu exactly. The Icelandic government and banking system collapsed, and the prime minister immediately resigned. So a big financial disruption on that day, big explosion of something intense that happened. But those are just two things that happened on those days. A lot of other things happened on those days, but a very big unstable events with both of them. Rahu is this instability, but this outward instability. So that does it with all of the things I wanted to talk about. Again, if you are interested in doing your own analysis of how your future is looking, I have the new reading offering. It's the full spectrum prediction session, and I use multiple techniques, your solar return, basic transit techniques, planetary periods, all to look at what you're going to be experiencing coming up and how to adapt to the different transits that are happening in your personal life. So you can look at my website, JM Vedic, for more information about that. And so enjoy this brand new year, this new astrological year. Have a great equinox time period, and we'll see you at the next video.